Hello, good morning. We are going to do a 24-hour reading vlog, probably 12 hours today, 12 hours tomorrow, I think. I will be counting audiobook time, and kind of the theme of this is books that I am way overdue to read. So today, I am starting the audiobook Trust by Hernan Diaz, which is a book that I don't actually know too much about, but I've heard that it's very reminiscent of Succession, which I haven't watched, but I've just heard a lot of really good things about it. We're going to the library to pick up other books. I have a little shopping list of potential books for this video. We will see what they have. Before that, I'm going to go get coffee because I need to take a very long walk. I've been very sedentary the past couple days, so extra long walk with my audiobook on the way to pick up other books. So okay, so I am drying off a little bit before going into the library. It's been about an hour and a half, so I am maybe a third of the way into Trust, and I am really liking it. It is written really differently, I would say, than most modern books. It's written kind of like a classic, like very, very narrative style. I'm not particular about writing style in general, so it's fine with me. I've noticed a trend of people being obsessed with show, don't tell. So if that's something you're obsessed with, definitely you will not like this book. But it's about a like Wall Street mogul person in like the early 1900s and his wife and their kind of family saga. Very, very interesting so far. Okay, so I have an alfalfa here going on. So it's about 1 p.m. I just got back and took a quick shower. It's very warm. So, I got quite a stack at the library. They did not have most of the books that I was like initially thinking I would do for this. There's only a couple in here that I like had in mind. So I did, the number one book that I want to read for this video is The Fifth Season by Jemisin, because that is just, I am so ridiculously overdue to read that. So I did end up getting it from Libby. I did get this one just in case it wasn't available on Libby. Thankfully, one of my libraries had one copy available right now. All of the rest of them had long wait times, so I was able to get it, but this was my backup option, She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. Definitely another one that I do want to read, but I don't think I'll get to it in addition. So I started Pew. Very, very interesting so far. I think I'm just going to go ahead and finish this one. This character who ends up being referred to as Pew is narrating the story, and they are sleeping in this church in this small town in the South. I think maybe in North Carolina. I'm not sure it specifies. No, I don't think it does. I think it just says the South. The congregation kind of takes them in a weird way, not in a, that makes it sound like it's like a religious book. It's not really, although certainly it's talking about religion, but obviously I'm only a little bit in. But this character doesn't speak very much, and they are completely ambiguous in identity. Like, people cannot tell how old they are, although they're young. They can't tell what race or gender or anything they are. And so obviously this small town southern church congregation has really no idea what to do with this situation. So there's a lot of interesting things happening. I am really liking this. I definitely knew that I wanted to read this as soon as I heard about it, so it did work well for this prompt. Another one, Frankenstein in Baghdad, that I did know that I wanted to read as soon as I heard about it. This is translated from Arabic, and it is about US occupied Baghdad. Don't know if we'll get to this one, but it is definitely one that I would like to read. A YA fantasy, if I can get to it, A Magic Steeped in Poison. This is like tea-based magic. So it is, I think, inspired by Chinese tea room, tea culture. And finally, Autumn by Ali Smith. This is the first in the like seasonal quartet or whatever by this author. I have read one of her books before, I think How Not to Be Both, and I did really like that. I think she has a very gorgeous, unique writing style. I have been very interested in reading this series ever since I heard about it. It was this one or the Cusk series that I was also very interested in, but this one is the one that they had. So yeah, again, not really what I had in mind necessarily going into this, but that's the hazard of just starting it instead of, obviously I could have reserved these books, but I am excited that I will be able to get to the 5th season, because again, that is like the book that I essentially started this video to read. So as far as trust, I am about 60% in, and I really like this book. Again, I pretty much went into this book without really knowing anything about it, which is kind of my preference, but it does tell the story multiple times in multiple different ways, I guess is what you could say, but not in a way that makes it like boring, like you're rehashing the same thing. So it has been really interesting to kind of get a little bit more context of what the author is trying to do. So yeah, I'm really liking that. It's about the like power structures of the United States, especially the financial world, especially throughout history. It's about the gender roles there of men and the women that they were able to essentially own through time, but then also they're still supporting these men that are potentially doing horrible things. So yeah, very interesting conversations to be having. Really enjoying that book. So I think, like I said, I'm gonna finish Pew. We're about 4.5 hours in, I think, maybe somewhere around there. Finished Pew. I did have to pause and take a little nap at one point. Let me see where we're at on the timer. Let's see, we're at 17 hours left, so we've done, or of the 24 obviously, so we've done 7. So that means that this took me about 3 to 4 hours to read. So yeah, pretty quick read. So interesting. So really talking about like history of like culture and how like white rural religious communities kind of function. I don't want to obviously talk about it too much because this is kind of best to go into mysteriously, but very interesting. I would love to read a lot or listen to a lot more reviews of this, so if you have any good ones, definitely let me know. It started out a little slow, like I enjoyed it from start to finish, but it was definitely you know, it's not fast-paced or anything, but I did really get engrossed by like the middle to the end. So that was very good. I think I'm going to start the 5th season now. I am worried about this because it is obviously so popular, such a like modern classic of the fantasy genre, so I'm always a little nervous when there's this much hype that I will be the person who doesn't get it, but I have confidence, mostly. We'll see how far we can get. Okay, so we just broke 16 hours on the timer, so I have 4-ish hours to go today, however much I want to keep reading. I am 12% into 5th season. It says I have 7 hours left on this. So I just made some more Gatorade from Gatorade powder, and I was taking a scrolling break, and every time I see a video of Simone Biles and Jordan Childs bowing to Rebecca Andrade from Brazil, I cry every single time I see it. I am just so glad that I was alive to see the 2024 Olympics. Like, obviously there's so many harmful things about the Olympics, and absolutely, I totally acknowledge that, but like, the 2024 Olympics, and it has just been such an incredible thing to witness for female athletes just across the board, and it makes me so happy. So anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. This is really good so far. It is a lot, you know, it's been a while since I read a fantasy like this, where like there's all the terminology and all the different like words that they just throw out there, and you're like, am I supposed to know what that means? So, you know, obviously only 12% in, I'm only just now kind of figuring out some of this stuff, but it has been really good so far. It does take me out of it a little bit when people write like curse words that correspond to the world that they're writing in, you know, like this one says like rusting is a curse word or expression. I don't actually mind it. Like, I know some people like actually hate it. I don't care, other than that every time I read it, I'm like, okay. The cicadas are making the summerness known. Okay, so I just finished Trust, and I liked it. I didn't love it, I would say. Like, it was really good, but there was something missing. Like, it took like a long time, you know, really thoroughly building up, and I enjoyed that aspect of it, but it didn't have quite the punch that I expected it to have. And I don't know whether that's just on me, but it just kind of felt anticlimactic, I guess you could say. But I did really like it. I think it was well done. I don't know, I'm interested to read his other book at some point, but I'm not like racing to read it right this second. 22% into the 5th season, so obviously I have quite a ways to go in that still. So my e-reader's estimate is just over 5.5 hours left. So I think I may pick this back up later, but right now, before it gets too dark, I think I'm going to go for a little walk. And while I do that, I am going to start A Magic Steeped in Poison as an audiobook. Downloaded it from Libby, so yeah, I just think it'll be nice to listen to a YA fantasy, so. Hello. So it is like noon, I think, of the next day, so I have about 9.5 hours left. I am 49% through the 5th season. This is so good. Like, this should have been a movie over Dune being a movie. I haven't read Dune, but I watched the first movie, and that was pretty much enough for me. But this would be such a good movie, or like series, but it would need to be really high budget, I think, because there's a lot of like effects that would have to go into it. So anyway, this is basically like there's a bunch of different perspectives in this. This is a world in which there are certain people who can control like the earth, like they can control like tectonic plates and stone and that kind of thing. and they are kind of like outcast-ish in society, like definitely very feared and controlled, just a lot of things going on. So yeah, really enjoying it. I am getting a little restless reading, after reading all day yesterday, but doing this kind of video really helps when you pick like only anticipated read, like only books that you're sure you're gonna like. Obviously that doesn't always work out, but it really helps a lot because I feel like I just want to keep reading other than the fact that I'm a little bit restless. But seeing as I am a little bit restless, I'm going to take a break from this. It says I have about 3 hours left, but I'm going to take a break from this and listen to the audiobook. I am about 25% I think, to A Magic Steeped in Poison. So this is, like I said, it is that she is going to a competition for tea magic. Her mother was killed by a poisoned tea. There are like assassins going around and poisoning tea in the kingdom, and so her mother was killed and her sister is like kind of slowly potentially going to die from it. So she has to try to win this emperor's competition in order to get a cure for that. And so we have just started the competition, basically. I just keep falling asleep. I keep having to take a nap because I am just literally nodding off while sleeping, eyes fully closing. Oh my god. Hello. So I have finished the 5th season. It is 6:47 and I have 4 hours and 20 minutes left or something like that. I don't know that I will finish, but we'll see. I have, I think, about 2 hours left of my audiobook, so I'm gonna go for a walk and at least finish that, and then we'll see. But 5th season, so good. Definitely well worth the hype. I can't wait to continue the series. Well, I mean, can't wait is an exaggeration. I am going to wait, but I am excited to continue the series. I feel like this was probably a 4.75, 4.5 kind of a book for me. I know that for so many people it's a 5-star, perfect, absolutely nothing to be changed. Really, really amazing world building, amazing storytelling, winding, crafting things together, so much complexity, so much interesting things going on. The only thing that didn't quite fully get me were the characters, and it's not that I didn't like the characters or think that they were good characters, because they absolutely were very, very good characters. It was just that there were parts, okay, to be honest, it's I didn't cry at the parts that I should have cried at. Is that a silly reason not to give a book 5 stars? Probably, but there were parts where I could tell I was supposed to be crying and I wasn't crying, and I am a crier. I will cry at books 100%, but I didn't cry. There was a little bit of oh, but there was, it didn't stab me in the chest. But again, nonetheless, so good. I definitely will continue the series. I definitely will continue to read other things from N.K. Jemisin. I read the first 100,000 Kingdoms or whatever book, the first book in that series, and I liked it, but it wasn't that deep to me. But I would continue potentially. But I also really want to read the Dreamblood duology. Very happy to have read that because, again, such an anticipated read, and it really was well worth it for sure. So hello. So it is the next morning. I just basically totally hit a wall yesterday. It was funny. I was talking about how it hadn't felt like that intense of a challenge, and then I went for a walk and I was listening to that audiobook, and I just realized I was not taking in any of the information, and I was like, yeah, I think I've had enough for the day, and so I just called it. I had like 4 hours left or something, but I was like, it's fine. I have like 3 weeks left at the library to finish that audiobook, and if I get to any of these other books that I got out, then I get to them, and if I don't, I don't. But I think it was very successful. Pew, I would say, was probably like a 4.5, yeah, I would say 4.5. Read, really enjoyed that a lot. Trust, probably a 4-star, I think. Solid book, not anything that's gonna like really stick with me, I think, but you know, obviously you can't really tell until later. And then the 5th season for sure, amazing. 4.75 probably. Excited to finish that series. And then the A Magic Steeped in Poison, I think, is so far really good. I mean, it is a YA fantasy, so you know, there's not quite the complexity level of some fantasies, but I'm enjoying it. So this was really fun. It was a good way to kind of break out of, I wasn't in a reading slump, I was just in kind of a slow interlude, I guess. Like, I was really working on my unread shelf super aggressively, and I felt like I was kind of trying to rush through books that were a little bit more slow paced. And this seems like backwards that this would have helped with that, because obviously this was also rushing through books, but it didn't feel like rushing through. It wasn't like I was like, okay, I need to finish this. It was just like, you know, losing myself in these worlds. So anyway, hopefully the video quality isn't too bad. I filmed this all on my phone for ease of filming, because obviously I haven't been filming videos for this channel, so I thought if I make the barrier to entry as low as possible, maybe I will film some more of them. So I just went the simple route. But anyway, I will see you in a later video.